Welcome to the Brant Phillips Show, the show dedicated to results. Now, here's Brant.
Welcome, my friends, to the Brant Phillips Show, the show that is all about helping you to create results. It's all about the results, my friends. So today's going to be a little bit different. Today I've invited a friend on named Steinbrook, and we're going to do an interview about something that I'm incredibly excited about going on in my business right now. And you will never believe what this is about. So many years ago, and I'm going to tell the whole story during the podcast, I first got started in real estate right before I left my full-time job. I decided to get my license, my real estate license. And there's always a debate in the investing community whether or not you should have your license or not. I decided basically out of fear that I was going to get my license just in case I need to generate a little bit of extra cash here and there, do some listings for other people. But, there were some benefits. It helped me to get access to the MLS, and I could list my own properties and things like that. But, many years later, I decided that having a realtor license didn't really support what my business mission was, my business goals and dreams, and it didn't really improve my lifestyle, right? And it didn't improve my freedom, and it didn't create really what I was trying to cultivate, right? Which was like recurring passive income, doing things that I absolutely enjoy and love working on. Well, my friends, I'm going to let you know now. I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtains what you're going to hear today. I've reactivated my real estate license. I'm back in the industry, but it's the company that I'm with now, and this business model that you're going to learn about today is completely revolutionary, because now being a licensed realtor is congruent with everything that I became an entrepreneur about. Not only is it in allowing me to improve my bottom line financially, but it's also given me ownership in another company and a business model that's 100% agent-owned brokerage, and with a platform and an ability to generate passive income from I can input and use my time, energy, and resources one time to create recurring revenue. So that's all I'm going to share about this now. So enjoy the interview with me and Connor. I think there's going to be some big takeaways for you out there that are in the investing world, and for those of you that may be licensed agents. And if you want some more information about this, just feel to reach out to me, shoot me an email, and or fill out a form on my website, and we'll talk and connect further if you have questions about this tremendous opportunity that's available in the marketplace.
Guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have another high-level real estate entrepreneur, real estate investor, and real estate agent out of Houston, Texas. We're going to go over his career today, what led him to join EXP, because top real estate professionals all across the country continue on joining this company because they understand there's lots of opportunity here. Let me introduce you to Brant Phillips out of Houston, Texas. And let's go in, Brant, and talk about why you made this big move, who you are, and why it's important for people to understand why someone like you is important to listen to, and why you make this move.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on the show, man. I'm really excited to be here. And a little quick story about me is I was, in the corporate world. Previously, I was 7 years in law enforcement. Figured that just wasn't where I wanted to spend the rest of my days, in the workforce. So decided to go test out the corporate world, because the grass is always greener on the other side, right?
Right.
I learned it took me one day in the corporate world to realize corporate world wasn't for me. I knew it the very first day. I remember coming home. I was no longer in law enforcement, working weekends and holidays and kind of stuff like that. My wife was so excited because I had like this 9-to-5 kind of thing, which it wasn't really 9-to-5, but I came home. She was like, "Honey, how was your first day on the job?" And I remember saying, "I absolutely hate it, but
Right.
but don't worry. I'm gonna make the best of it. I'm gonna provide for our family, but I'm gonna find something else to do that we could make more money. I could enjoy my life, et cetera, et cetera." So like so many, right? I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I just began reading books about real estate, going to networking events, and late in 2006. I told my wife I want to be a real estate investor, and it's kind of funny at the time because we were kind of newlyweds. We've been married for probably about 3 years or so, and we had our first child. We had our second child on the way. We're living in an apartment, and we had like no money at all. We had just finished paying off like all of our student loans. We both had college debt, college loans, right? Like so many, paying off credit cards. We did this Dave Ramsey thing. We're debt free, blah, blah, blah. We're living in this apartment. And then I told my wife, like, I want to become a real estate investor. And so I still remember this. She's probably thinking like, we don't have any money. We live in an apartment. You have no business experience. Like, okay, sure. And I got real specific with her. I said, I'm going to buy 10 houses this year. I just pulled the number out. It sounded like a good number. And so lo and behold, I used a credit card to purchase my first investment property, bought 10 properties first year, began putting together partnerships and raising money my second year. And 2009, I quit my job and became a full-time real estate investor. But what's, one of the reasons we're on the podcast today is I know about EXP Realty and what a lot of people see me as a real estate investor because I write books about real estate, do coaching and teaching, all this kind of stuff, a lot of speaking. A lot of people don't know in 2009, I got my real estate license right before I quit my job. And so some people, that's always a debate in the real estate community, whether or not, hey, should I get my license? Should I not get my license? And about half the investors that I know do and half don't. So my motive on getting my license at that time was, it was kind of fear-based, to be honest with you. So I didn't see myself as being a realtor. It wasn't something I wanted to do. But I was like, well, in case this investing thing doesn't work out, I can do some listings. I can, have this income to support my family in case there's some lean time. So I got my license. Used it a lot, for listing my own deals, working with other students, some friends, family members, kind of stuff like that. And it was nice to have, access to the MLS and learn some things and get education and make income with my license. But over time, especially as my investing business grew, my time became more constrained. And I began just really giving all my listings to an agent. We actually have a full-time agent in the office that I employ. But I began realizing several years into it, being a realtor, the income was good, right? But it really wasn't supporting what really got into real estate, which was, to create this, create a lifestyle that me and my wife, my family truly desired, to create true wealth. And that wasn't supporting that, right? It was trading time for money. So a couple of years ago, I decided to deactivate my license just for that. It wasn't really supporting what I was trying to achieve in business, and deactivated it and just focusing on investing. But I mean, I know me and you know each other quite well now, Connor, and I know one of our mantras is multiple streams of income,
right,
passive income, recurring revenue. So I don't know how much you want me to share, but I know when I heard about EXP, I immediately said, I have to reactivate my license and I got to get back into this, because now being a realtor with the EXP model supports why I became a real estate investor. And it really supports what most of the people that I work with real estate investing clients, realtors that I'm now working with, is like, we all want more money, more time, and more freedom. And I'm like, this is on alignment with my other investment models. It makes absolute sense, man. I'm really fired. Like, I never thought I would say I'm fired up to be an agent as much as I am now, because it's like a rebirth from when I got into real estate 10 years ago. I'm like, right, dude, this is it, man. Like, this is another layer to.
Well, that's what people are saying, man. I mean, real estate, or people are saying EXP is making real estate fun again, right? Because it's a breath of fresh air for a lot of us, because now people are reinvigorated. We'll talk about the difference between active and passive and residual income models and working for equity as well. But guys, it's important to understand that Brant is not some brand new individual in the real estate world. He's done an amazing job over the past 10 years runs a huge company down there in Houston. Most people can never get out of being a solopreneur as an investor, where they're just doing everything on their own. So he's actually built a real business. He's traveling around the country speaking. He's helped a lot of people change their life through real estate. And that's kind of how we met, right? So we met at an event. I was speaking there a little bit in the beginning of the event, and Brant was giving a speech there. And that's kind of how we connected. And talk about a little bit how you, before you saw EXP, kind of already were talking about EXP without really knowing about EXP, knowing that the real estate world is moving towards a more leaner, cleaner business model, more tech-based model, and how technology was going to help influence this industry quite heavily. And then when you saw EXP, it just kind of clicked, like it did for me, like it did for a lot of top real estate professionals across the country.
Yeah, sure. So I go up to Dallas. Well, I'm actually, as soon as we get off this, I'm heading up to Dallas to go speak at Quest at a private lender function where I teach people how to invest passively in real estate. And so at our office here in Houston, I've got, like I said, I have a full-time agent, acquisitions buyer, construction manager, all these people. And we have a lot of conversations about business all the time. And I don't know, it was earlier this year, late last year, we were having a conversation. There was other people in the office, but I was really having it with my agent, who's also my sister-in-law. And, it was, I can't remember if I read something or just we were talking, having a conversation. And I told her, I said, I'm like, if I were you as an agent, I would be concerned about your industry. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, I think I was reading something about Uber, Airbnb or something. I can't remember what it was. I'm like, look at things are changing, right? I was looking at the Redfin model. They started doing like 1.5% listings, now they're 1%. You look at Nextdoor, look at some of these other competitors. I said, but I was like, I don't think that's it. I just said something's going to change in this industry, and I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I know that technology is going to catch up with really an outdated system, outdated model. I'm like, so I don't know, I'm like, keep your eyes out, right? Like keep your ear to the streets and find out, be looking for signs because something's going to change. I don't know what it is. And that was it. Like we had a conversation about it. And then a few months ago, it was a few months later from that conversation, which was probably 3 or 4 months ago from today, I'm getting ready to speak at this event. And I'd never met you before. I'd seen you on Facebook and your podcast, your YouTube channel actually is what I'd seen. And so I think it was Nathan Long got up and said, hey, Connor's going to speak a little bit before Brant comes up. I was like, oh, he's going to speak about his investing business. He's going to raise money, something like that. And you talked about EXP Realty. And so I'm like, what is he doing talking about being a realtor? At first I'm like, is this guy a real investor? Like, what's going on here? Yeah. It just blindsided me. And then I was thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, I think this is it. Like, this may be it. And that's when I went up to you and, we started talking. I'm like, I want to learn more about this, man. So I went back, started watching videos, doing my research, and here we are. And right. I knew it, man. Right. This was the next thing.
Right. I mean, it just makes sense for a lot of serious entrepreneurs that see the model, right? Because we have a 3 income stream model, which we'll talk about here in a second. But when you look at all the other big companies that had come before EXP, they were all built before the internet, right? So there's a ton of great companies out there, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Remax. These are amazing companies, but they were just built before this technology boom that we've seen and the internet boom. And now we have the ability to run a leaner, cleaner business model, which is what EXP essentially is, guys. We're the fastest growing real estate brokerage in U.S. history. And it's because we're a cloud-based brokerage. And for y'all who don't understand what that means, you need to sit down with Brant or myself or somebody in EXP and sit down and see what it is. So that's how we met. And there's a lot of reasons why I personally moved my license to this company. And one of them is because I promised myself, just like Brant did, was I would never have one income stream because my previous career disappeared, and I'd always work for something that had a residual income stream, something where I could trade my time, energy, and resources one time, but get paid multiple times for that effort and energy. And so one of the biggest reasons we see a lot of agents burn out and quit the business or get frustrated and step away from the business from times is because they're working for active income. And guys, if you don't understand the difference, Active income, transactional income, being a wholesaler, flipping houses, being a real estate agent, working for a job, you're getting paid once for the energy you're trading once and the risk you're trading once. And what happens is, as a regular real estate agent, guys, is you go and sell a house, and once that house closes, anxiety picks up and frustration picks up because you don't know when the next check is coming, nor do you know how big that check is going to be. Is it going to be a $150,000 house, or is it going to be a $500,000 house? Without that consistency and financial stability, it can be very, very stressful living that lifestyle. So let's kind of talk about that. What most real estate agents see is because they have real no exit to the business, because as long as they can sell houses and produce an income, most of them can do pretty well that are successful in this business. But as we know, as you get older, energy levels drop, production drops. You can't maintain that pace that you did early in your career. And it seems to be people have a struggle because they don't have that business maturity or self-discipline through those early years, and they live for what's called immediate gratification, and they spend that money because as their income goes up, so does consumption. So let's talk about what you've seen in your career watching real estate agents struggle with this active income model.
Yeah, so I love talking about this. This is probably one of the things that that inspires me the most to share with people is teaching really other people. Not just to create the income. It's so much more than just income. It's about creating additional time, freedom, and just building a business that you love and enjoy. And so, I myself, I was hard charging in as an investor, and I'll tell you, probably about year 4, year 5. Making tons of money, I went through massive burnout in my investing business because it was 100% active, right? So I didn't have systems in place. I had a few team members, but it wasn't a real business model that I had. It was like I had active income. Like I said, I was making a lot of money, but I went through a really difficult time of being burnt out, and I didn't see an end in sight, and that was the problem. Like, yeah, I'm making a lot of money, but I don't know how to fix this to where I can, run this business without being so active in it. And so in hindsight, it was wonderful because it caused me to rethink things, slow things down, and build it back to where I've 11 years later, I've been in this business, and now, we buy dozens and dozens, 50, 60, 70 houses a year. And I don't have to see these houses, right? And I don't have to manage them. I don't have to look at them. I don't have to manage the rehab. And I'll tell you that is a difficult accomplishment, right? Like, it's not something that probably everyone even desires to do, nor do I recommend everyone to build like this fully functional real estate investing business, because it's really difficult and it's really hard. And that's a reason why I'm like so fired up about EXP, because this is allowing people like plug and play to instantly have the systems and the model built out for them to where you can recreate and reproduce a fully functional business that can meet, depending how you work it, can meet your everyday income needs to provide for your bills and expenses and your family, but also it's giving you the ability to build it for the future, right? And so I'll tell you, when I went through my burnout, when I went, kind of hit that bottom, so to speak, and it helped me to get focused on what I wanted to do, and I went back to the beginning, like, why did I get into this business, right? It wasn't. Like, money was, for me, honestly, like, money was the least motivating factor. I wanted more time. I wanted more freedom. I wanted to build a business like every day that I enjoyed what I was doing, that I enjoyed the people that I was working with. That was really important to me. But I also wanted multiple streams of income, right? If one wasn't producing so well, I would have peace of mind that other things were working. And then I wanted passive income. And I went the rental property route in the beginning. That was what, a mentor that I had taught me. And leveraging, when you're starting out with nothing, you're leveraging rental property. It's great for creating wealth, and I don't regret it at all. but it's not a truly passive income model.
Right.
And so that's just been a part of my journey, and that's why I'm excited with the agents that we're working with now with EXP. Is I'm teaching agents, realtors, to create real wealth through their active everyday income that they're creating, but also layering some recurring revenue through the EXP model and also with the investing thing as well. Because I think it's all, the cool thing with EXP is when I talk about multiple streams of income, for me, it's really important that they're all in the real estate sphere, right? Like we're not running over here and, doing some just tangent of some other industry. They're
Right.
like, all these things are interrelated, and that's how there's some true synergies that occur with this business over and over, and that's why I like it.
Right. I mean, they're just extra symbiotic cash flow streams and different income streams that go together. And so the reason why a lot of agents are attracted to coming working with you and your EXP team, a lot of people are reaching out to you, is because you're experienced in the business and you have a lot to offer them. But guys, let's talk about this burnout, this active income burnout that real estate agents feel. And this happens to everybody. It happens not just in real estate, it happens in all industries. And it's the pressure to live up to your expectations, live up to previous year's incomes. So what happens is, even if you're a rock star, and a lot of y'all are, and a lot of you agents are going to watch this, what happens is you start out in the business and you start out slow, and then you start making a lot of money, and you get to a point where you're going to hit a peak year. At one point, you're going to make the highest income you're ever going to make. And that next year, you're going to have a drop in income, and you're going to start out that year. Say you made $400,000 last year, and you break the year down into quarters. So you're thinking in your mind, the way our minds think is to break your previous year, which is why you've been excited about the business running so hard, because you keep breaking your previous year's income. You're going and say you're in that first quarter and you've only produced $50,000 income. So your brain starts thinking you're behind, and it starts creating stress and anxiety. And there's always going to be a peak year. But when you work for our passive income and you're stacking passive income models as well as working for equity, your income is always going up. And when we talk about the way our brains work, as long as you're progressing in life, as long as things are getting better, you stay happy, you stay focused, you stay driven, energy levels are high. But when you start to feel that regression or that stagnation, that's what creates that burnout feeling, that depression, that anxiety that people feel, and they start saying they're burnt out. And then once you start breaking that emotional barrier, right, and you start thinking that way, now you're already thinking that way, and it just compounds on that downswing. And so that's why you see so many agents get frustrated and quit the business, because they do see no end in sight. But now EXP has given us an exit to the business. So let's talk about why we have an exit to the business, because we have a 3 income stream model. Guys, you can come in and act as a regular real estate agent. We have a commission-based income stream where you can sell houses, go out there and act as a real estate agent. But just doing what we normally do anyways as real estate agents now with EXP, we can actually build equity in a company, because now, as you saw on May 21st, EXP has now been uploaded to the NASDAQ. We're a publicly traded company. When you come into the company and you sell your first house, a number of shares are going to be issued to you. And so just doing what you already do anyways, you're building up equity in this company through the stock. Also, if you do what we call capping out within our company, which a lot of y'all work at a company where y'all have a cap, when you sell $2.66 million in real estate, they're going to issue you more shares. And then we have a third income stream, which is basically a team building income stream, which is where you can go out there, act as a real estate broker without actually having to have a broker's license, but still build a team. And when those agents come on your team and sell houses, because you're introduce those agents to the company, you're going to have a financial incentive, and they're going to reward you out of that agent's production. So for example, on our front level, we're getting 3.5% of gross commission of what that agent's selling. And so now agents can come in and build a team. They can build equity in a company. So they're building passive income, they're building equity, as well as alongside they're selling houses. And this is what's super exciting, because when you're building up, this revenue share, which we call it, similar to the KW profit share model, but we're doing it before expenses and not after expenses are pulled out, because we're not a franchise model. Now agents are able to build up what we consider a cash flow model or an extra income stream coming in every single month. And that's what's super exciting. And this is what's going to allow you to exit the business. So let's kind of talk about, how these models really influenced you to come into the company, because you were sitting there working as an active income agent for a long time, and it just burnt you out so much that you quit the business. And then when you saw this, it was so exciting for you. It basically brought you back into the business, which I'm seeing happen for a lot of agents. We're seeing agents change their lives over and over. So let's kind of dig into this a little bit here, and let's just hear your opinions on it.
Yeah. So one thing that I think is really important when we talk about recurring revenue or passive income and active income is I see a lot of people, real estate investors included, they focus on like this big number, like this really big, ginormous goal that is really overwhelming to them, and for some people far-fetched in terms of with the systems and the methods they're trying to reach their goal. Like you just mentioned it, like say an agent goes out and makes $300,000 or $400,000. Well, they're not going to continually be able to increase that revenue, especially like what if they get sick? What if there's a shift in the market, which there will always be. So one of the things that I love about this model in really, real estate investing and the EXP model in general is yes, like we all want to become high net worth individuals, right? And so having a high net worth is great. But what's even more, really to me, more powerful than that for your everyday life is getting to a point where your recurring revenue meets and exceeds all of your bills. So this model, why it's so exciting for me, and like why I'm saying like we're truly helping realtors create real wealth, is because if you break this down into like just a mini goal, like forget about people, I see so many people think, oh, if I can just make $1 million, like that's going to be peace, love, and happiness. Like that's like this finish line. Like it's not. Like I've made $1 million. Like it's not. But if you take a much smaller view, say if you have, let's say your mortgage is $3,000 a month, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is. But think how many lives would be changed if they had $2,000 to $3,000 a month coming in every single month, no matter what, where they just didn't have to pay a mortgage again. It's absolutely life-changing to them. What if you have an additional $1,000 to pay for you and your spouse's car, or maybe you want to send your kids to private school like my wife and I do with our kids? Like when you have this income coming in, just like $1,000 to $2,000, and you layer that, like you said, you stack maybe another $1,000 or $2,000, whatever it is, a year later, that changes your life. That changes people's lives. And I don't think people understand the impact that it has, or really how achievable it is, right? With the right model and the right systems and the right support, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's what's really exciting to me is that opportunity where to get people's mind off the bigger goal, like we need to have bigger goals and we need to pursue net worth, et cetera, but where our daily actions are actually having an impact on our daily and weekly lives,
right? Like
improving it tremendously just by hitting some of these little small goals. But yeah, that's exciting to me. Like people don't understand $3,000 to $5,000 in passive income changes people's lives.
Absolutely. So what it does is it basically gives you the feeling of living without fear. Because, for example, the individual who brought me into this company, he got sick, was put in the hospital not too long ago. And he'll tell you himself that his revenue share, that passive income, that cash flow, or whatever you want to call it, was coming in while he's sitting there stuck in the hospital. It took a huge burden off of him, because if he was a normal agent, what would have been going on? He'd been stressing out. He'd been like, when am I going to get out of here? What are my bills going to be? When am I going to get out there and be able to sell houses again? And those unknowns are very, very stressful. But you're seeing this happen all across the country, especially you from Houston. Look at all the flood houses, right? So all the EXP agents that I talked to that were in Houston, when I went to the shareholder event, said they all had houses held up in escrow, if at least they were in that part of the city on that side. And they were basically like, look, it was my revenue share that let me go to sleep at night feeling comfortable, because I knew that I didn't have to worry where the money was coming from. Whereas if you're only working for active income and you get sick, you get hit in a car wreck, for some reason you have to travel to take care of your parents, because they get sick. Guys, life will catch up to you eventually. I promise you. If you're living in the present moment and feeling like you're invincible and that everything is going to always go right, that is not how life works. Some point in the future, if you're only an active income earner and you don't have anything to step back to and look to, if you get in a position where you can't produce that income, it's going to catch up and it's going to be a very, very stressful time for you. And so, I mean, especially for you down there in Houston, you've probably seen this happen with agents all over getting held up with houses in escrow. They couldn't get these houses closed and their business shut down, right? So there's so many things that can come up as an active income earner that can be a risk long term for you.
Yeah, sure. Well, I believe that success breeds success. So that's why I like to encourage people. It's like, hey, like, I get it. Like, your bills may be 10 or 15 or 20,000, whatever all your bills are. But like, let's focus on mini goals. Like, when people focus on, all right, let me, get to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, whatever it may be in recurring revenue. Like, once they see that, they're on fire. Like, so it just, that success breeds success. Like, oh, if I can do 1,000, then I can do 2,000. If I can do 2,000, I can do 4,000. So that's always been, my strategy with investing. And now it's what we're working on building with the EXP model at the same time.
Right. So, I mean, a lot of people are going to be attracted to come work with you. You have a lot to offer. So you've actually built a real business. What is it like to see? Because I think everybody understands once they start looking at EXP that these multiple income streams are just the best option for an agent, because we see, I mean, how often do you see, Brant, a 75-year-old real estate agent still selling houses? And what do they tell us? They're selling houses because they just love the business. And we know that's not true, because they can't live off Social Security. They didn't put money away because they didn't plan for their retirement, and they're having to sell houses.
Yeah.
And so you have the ability to help these agents. We have incredible software that they give us. Let's kind of talk about some of the opportunities that EXP allows, because not just do we get the ability to have extra income streams, we're also getting incredible opportunities through training, through conversion, and what we now call KV Core. We get Commission Zinc. So for someone like you who's an expert lead generator, what can using these softwares do for you and the team that you're going to build? I mean, you're going to help some of these new agents that wouldn't have this type of help going to a 100% shop, because a lot of agents are attracted to those flat fee shops where they get $250 per transaction and that's it. But essentially what they're doing is they're taking their hat off and just hanging their license there, and they're not getting any support. They're not getting any help because they're focused on, I get to keep more of my money. But what happens is they're not getting any support, help from someone who knows the business, any softwares or lead generation programs to help them. And so they're making more of their commission, but they're not selling hardly any houses. So really they're not making that much money, right?
Sure. Yeah. So it's really just an inefficient business model. So, I just hearing you talk about, how I've built this business that's probably 90% systemized, and like I deal with very little these days. And I look like if I was getting started in the business now, and if this model was available now, and I was just getting started, and if I had all this knowledge and all this experience of what I've been through, I can tell you, I wouldn't have chose the path I've been through. Okay,
Right.
I will tell you that. So everything that I've built, and the losses and the risk and just the headaches and the trials and tribulations of building a business, like, I've grown from it, and I don't regret it. But if there's a smarter, more efficient, less risk model, why wouldn't you do that? Like I said, I want more time, more freedom, and just more enjoyment out of life, and more, of course, to create wealth and income, but do that efficiently. So that's what was really so exciting to me about EXP as well, was just the efficiency of the model. I was an agent previous to coming back for about 8 years, and I went to I've met with a broker. I had two different brokers, and I was with the flat fee model also both times. So I had two brokers. I met each of them one time. It was both when I signed up with them, never saw them again. And I went to brokers' offices exactly 2 times ever.
Right.
Should I have been going there more? Yeah, because that's where training was. That's where support was. And so, I didn't. But you get into what you put into it. So to me, it was just like, I don't want to drive across town for this. And so I'd spend time on the phone or trying to get help or just trying to figure out things myself a lot of times. So it was an inefficient model. And I'm not like a tech person or anything like that, but I'll tell you that we've been using virtual assistants I hired my first VA 10 years ago when I first got started in this business. So we use virtual support. We use technology when it makes sense. With a lot of, even I have employees who don't come to the office anymore, right? Because there's no need for them to. So when I saw EXP's model, it just made sense that it would, not only like we've mentioned several times, like not only support me, in improving, revenue, income, but it provided a more efficient business model. The cloud-based brokerage it blew my mind. It was like I knew something was going to happen. I didn't think it would be like that. But when I saw, I'm like, this is it. Like, tell me why this doesn't make complete and total sense.
Right. Well, when we were down there at the mastermind down there in Cancun, we were at the pool, and I was literally on my phone accessing the cloud brokerage. Right. Think about that.
Yeah.
I can run my business. Like, if we had internet access on the moon, we could run that business. And so what's interesting, Brant, is that, you have a very extensive career and long track record on both sides of business, but a lot of people know you for the investment business you built. Same thing with me. They know me for the investment business I built. And so a lot of people didn't believe me when I said I put a lot of my business activity kind of on the back burner to focus on EXP. And so what you said earlier, how we met, is this should prove to people this is a huge opportunity. That when we met, I wasn't out there trying to speak on how to flip houses or how to buy rental properties. I was out there spending my time focusing on building EXP Realty because I love this company. I think it's the future of real estate, just as many of us. And everywhere I go, what do I hear? I hear the same broken record. EXP's changed my life. EXP's changed my life. EXP's changed my life. And I just can't remember hearing anybody tell me that a different brokerage has ever changed their life. Now, they enjoy being at the company, but they're not out there saying that this has given me excitement again, that this is giving me a path to actually exit the business where I don't have to sell houses until the day I die. And that's why a lot of people from these flat fee shops are moving over, because they can never retire. They're always going to have to sell unless they have some discipline and take that initiative early on and start putting money away. There is no 401k. There is no retirement plan set up for agents. And this is why, and most of them never live past the present moment. But I've talked to a number of them lately, and some of them have specifically said just like this: the biggest fear I have is that I'm going to have to sell houses forever, and I'm trapped in this business because I don't want to go back to corporate, yet I don't see an end in sight for this, and they feel stuck. And it's just a horrible, very sad thing to see. So we're now able to help them. And I think if they just reach out to Brant and us and sit down and see what we have to show them, I think this business model is going to massively shift the way they've seen real estate and brokerages the way they've been run before. But it's also important to understand that we're not a franchise model. And because of this, we don't have that slowdown of having to build offices out. And we can now build teams across the country. So individuals from Florida, California, New York can work with Brant and us and our team the same way they'd work with us if we were right there in their backyard. Because nobody goes to office. We all know this. We've had top agents on here left and right, or coming through our office, or coming through Investor Army talking about this, that people do business in the field. They do business at the title company or title attorney's office or Starbucks. These are the top three places they tell me they spend their time. They never tell me they're going into the office. And it's just the elimination of this brick and mortar cost and the elimination of the franchise process now eliminates massive overhead. And when you run a leaner, cleaner business model and overhead goes down, profits go up. And the reason why the company wants to give us so much top training and live training in cloud, a video vault that we can access 24 hours a day, conversion, or what we call KV Core now, Commissions Inc., all our different lead generation platforms, is the company wants to spend more and give more to the agent to make us better agents, because when we sell more houses, more money goes back to the company. And because we're all agent owners together, the individuals that have come in and sold a house in the company, because we're now all equity shareholders, everybody wins. And that's why this is such a great business model, and what they've created for us is so powerful. You still there?
Yeah.
Looks like we lost you
Yeah,
there for a
yeah,
second.
I'm there. Yeah, no, I'm here. Yeah, man, it sounds so. A big thing for me is I like to truly be excited and inspired by what I'm doing. Like I don't care. Like you can say, hey, you can make $1 million, doing whatever, flipping mobile homes. But I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's my thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I like to be excited about what I'm doing and 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 just work with people I enjoy working with. People do business with people they like doing business with, and that's another thing that's so cool about this is like, right. So I'm meeting with, I'm getting on a call later today with one of my old students. He's in Atlanta. He's heard about what we're doing. He's like, dude, I want to talk. He's in the real estate space. So he's in Atlanta, but he can come on, onto our team with the EXP, and we're down here in Houston. We're talking to some of my wife's families from the East Coast, from Philadelphia. So we're talking to some of her family. Like, I see what y'all are doing. We want, like, they watched a couple of videos. Like, want to learn more about it. So we could work with them even though they're in Philadelphia. And so there's just so many things that are inspiring me and encouraging me. And you're right, about like our time. You told me you began shutting down certain aspects of your business to focus on EXP. And whenever when I got into this business, like I said, I was pursuing time freedom, financial freedom, right? All these types of things. And the old realtor model just didn't support any of my goals. I shut it down. EXP supports that. So what am I spending a lot of my time on now? It's the EXP model. We're doing weekly lunch and learns at our office.
Right.
And I'm having to look at other ways, time commitments that I have. And honestly, when I'm putting them on the scales, like, EXP is outweighing some of the other things I'm doing. So that's where we're devoting more time to. And I've got a busy life. I have a wife and 5 kids and pretty active with other things. But it's like EXP is beginning to get some other time in my business time each week. And we're devoting more and more time to it, because the more and more time that we spend in it, the more and more people that we're working with, like, we're starting to see even how bigger the opportunity is. I mean,
Right.
Everybody, last night, so I'm in Houston, and at the time of this recording, like, we've got an incredible baseball team, like the Houston Astros, World Series champions.
Debatable.
My wife and I went to a game. So my wife and I went to a game last Friday. I took my son to the game last night. One of my sons, I have 3 boys. So I took my 8-year-old. We got first row seats. It's pretty awesome. But you go to the Astros game now, and it's like packed. Like, they have 30, 40,000 people, which is a lot, like on a Monday night, where 5-6 years ago they were the worst team in Major League Baseball.
Right.
But everybody loves to be a part of a winning team, right? So EXP is they're the fastest growing real estate company ever. Like, why don't you want to be a part of that? So there's synergy there. There's energy. There's a reason they are the fastest growing company ever. That doesn't happen by accident, right? That doesn't happen by accident. So like, I was, this analogy about the Astros, like they won the World Series. It wasn't an accident, right? Like, they had a great team, they had great chemistry, they had great leadership, they had efficiencies and training and other things that other teams didn't have, and that's what EXP has. So that's what I'm proud to be a part of this team, and Connor, you and I are partners, right? People who are coming in under us are like, we're business partners now, because we're in this business together. So everything that you're doing, everything that I'm doing, like, we're collectively growing a company, and I haven't seen anything like this before. It's so much more efficient than starting an investment business, right? It's so much easier. And the risk, I was thinking about when I had my license before, when you were talking earlier, and I met with brokers 2 times, went to offices a total of 2 times. And I remember, like, I had other phone calls and conversations for support, but I always had this feeling. I had this feeling like my broker didn't like me very much, because she just seemed frustrated. And I'm like, well, maybe she's frustrated because I never come to the office. I don't come to the meetings. But really, now that I've learned more about this, and like, I think she was probably just overwhelmed, because when you go into EXP World and you see they have specialized support for every aspect of the business, it's so efficient. And so, yeah, so I was like, man, maybe she just doesn't like me, but it was maybe she was really burned out
Well, think
because
about
of
this.
all the stress and the burdens that she was having and fires she was having to put out, and they're all going to her cell phone or email for the most part.
I mean, that's what people don't realize. Most of these brokers are losing money. They got in with a vision of what they thought. And a lot of times when we create a vision and we have an internal thought process of where we want to go, and then a few years down the road, after we put a lot of energy behind it, and reality plays out different than the internal movie that we created in our mind, that's what causes that frustration and that feeling of failure, and that this isn't what I thought. But a lot of these brokers, guys, if you're a broker right now and you come across this, ask yourself, are you still selling houses yourself? And if you are, you know why you're still selling houses, because most of the time you're supplementing the brokerage that you built. Because brokers who are truly successful, they don't sell houses anymore. They give those leads off to those agents, and they're taking 50% or 20% or whatever they want to split it. But a real entrepreneur understands that it's better to get 50% of 100 deals than 100% of, say, 20 deals, right? And so it's just a creative form of leverage. And like you talked about, guys, we no longer have to try to fight for the attention of one broker. We have in the cloud specialized salaried employees that handle accounting, the tech outpost, transaction team, agent services. We have individuals that are employees of EXP that work for us. So 200 plus employees will work for you instead of you essentially working for one broker. It's totally shifted the way the industry is run. But I think it's important also that you brought up the Astros here, because it kind of struck a chord with me. Let's be honest. Real estate is a very lonely business for people when they start out as an entrepreneur. If they're an investor or an agent, they're the only one looking out for themselves. They're out there running around the street trying to make a living for themselves, and it can be very, very lonely. And what EXP has done compared to the traditional model, which is one broker, a bunch of random agents at the office who are their competition, now we're building teams. And Brant and I are on a team. Guys, if you call Brant and you sit down with us and you join our team, you're going to be working with Brant and I, literally us, not assistants or not some other person. You're going to be working with us every single week. That's what's crazy about this opportunity is you'll actually get a partner with us. But we're now building a team environment, because when we win, we all win together, and we're all working at this together. And so it's literally, for those of us who played a lot of sports when we were young, this has taken the team back to our lifestyle. And a lot of us were in team sports, and it's created that environment where we can all win together again, which is exciting for me and a lot of y'all out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know what's your take on this? Because you worked at a shop where there was one broker. Now you can log into the cloud, live time, hop on your computer, go in and get any question answered that you want. You can walk right up to the tech outpost. Those salaried employees, you could have one working next to the other from different parts of the country. They're able to now work at home and raise their family. And this has been a big reason I've talked to a lot of agents, actually hundreds of agents lately, and a number of them are single mothers. And they're saying the ability to work at home and raise their children and be able to spend more time there has just completely changed their life. And you're seeing this come out left and right. And it's just something that's, when you think about it on a human level, it's just absolutely amazing that this is now available for agents that normally would get stuck having to drive around town, go to the office all the time. Now they can work from home.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, my wife and I, we have 5 children, right? We have help, we have a nanny, we have all these things. But I like to, encourage people, for people who are considering this, really look at it from a business perspective. And I remember when I first got into real estate investing, we talk about what is the risk, what is the reward, what is your investment, et cetera, what's the return on that investment. So when I got started in real estate, I used a credit card because I had no money. So I didn't really care much about the risk, honestly. Like, I didn't have much to lose. But now when you create more success in life, or agents begin to build up their business, you have to look at, like, what is my risk for this opportunity, whether it be an investment deal, whether it be a business decision, something like this. Begin looking at it like at a business perspective, like, what is my risk to take part in this opportunity, and what would the reward be? So you start really looking at it. I encourage people to get out a spreadsheet, get out a pen and paper, and really start doing the math, because that's when I heard you first speak about it, I was like, man, this sounds incredible, but next thing I did was like really started looking at numbers and data, and it was over. The numbers don't lie, right? Like numbers will tell the story,
Right.
and that's the thing is like these numbers tell a story, and then especially when you numbers are great, right? So they'll tell the story of the financial outcome, but then you start looking at other things, especially as we get older. Many of the people that I work with, like on the investing side, are people that are nearing like retirement age, which I hate the word retire, but they're retiring that age of, mid to late 50s, early 60s, and like, what do I do now? And so look at that as well as like, you look at all the data on the income, the revenue streams, stock options, et cetera, but also look at the data on what this can do for your life, for your time, and just the efficiencies that are there with being in the cloud versus driving over to a broker's office and all these different types of things. And that's where the numbers, you put everything on a scale with current model, and you put everything on the scale with the EXP model, and to me, it was a draft. Like it was absolutely overwhelming. It was a no-brainer.
Exactly.
It's a no-brainer.
That's what I said.
Yeah, and so with our lunch and learns, I know we hosted one together last week, and so we're sharing with agents, and we're like, I suck at sales. I don't know if I'm like this isn't a sales presentation. I approach EXP just like I approach when I speak to private lenders, right? When we talk about people investing with our company, I'm like, look, all this really is just we're sharing some information about an opportunity that exists in the marketplace, right? This is an opportunity for agents, and we're just saying something for you to consider is that there is a newer model. I believe it, Connor believes it to be much more efficient, much more conducive for you to create likely what you wanted in the first place, was to create a business model that meets and exceeds, your monthly expenses and creates a lifestyle for you, but at the same time working and helping people that you enjoy working and helping at the same exact time. And then just creating some more of that freedom stuff where you can work at home or work there with your kids, they're with you, whatever it is. Like, just do the research is what I encourage people to do. Just watch some more videos, and ask questions, reach out to me or Connor, and just put together, look at the numbers, look at the data, just look at it. And like, the numbers don't lie. That's why I always tell my students is like, you plug the numbers in the spreadsheet, like the numbers will tell you the story. And is that story a story that you want to live out and realize, or is it, not so good? And then you don't do it.
I mean,
but to me, it's overwhelming.
I mean, math is a universal language. Guys, like, if you're a serious real estate entrepreneur and you're not going to take 30 minutes to an hour to sit down with like Brant or I or somebody else in this business at EXP to take a look at this, you cannot consider yourself serious as far as business goes, because we're sitting here talking about the fastest growing real estate brokerage in U.S. history, a 3-income stream cloud-based model that's using technology to leverage your business, hundreds of employees that will work for you for just $85 a month. I mean, so a lot of people, Brant, that have come into our team, they're like, look, I've been where I've been. We don't need to talk about these other companies because they're all great, but they've been there for 10, 12, 15 years. Their risk in their mind is, let me come over and try it for 3 to 6 months. If it doesn't work and it's not what people say it is, then I'll go back. So I can say this without a doubt right now that not one person that's come into our team since I joined this company has left my company or has left my revenue share organization. Not one. If you're a broker out there, ask yourself how many people come in and out. It's like a revolving door for most companies. But I mean, the saddest thing and the worst thing you'll ever see in your entire life is to see someone at the end of their life and see regret in their eyes. And the reason why people live a life of regret is because they lived a life of skepticism and they never wanted to slow down to look at any opportunity because they were always skeptical. And so if you're a skeptic, guys, and you don't want to take the time to at least sit down and see this for what it is and really run your numbers and take what you're making at your company and take your commission splits and just put it on pen and paper side by side, I mean, it's like you kind of deserve what you're going to get, right? If there's a better opportunity out there and it's been presented to you and you don't slow down to look at it, I mean, what's your risk? You come over and if it doesn't work, you move back. I mean, people bounce around brokerages all the time. And that's what's so sad is that most people aren't even willing to slow down to look at a new opportunity, especially one like this, when industry leader after industry leader is moving over left and right. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, man, but that was on my mind, and we haven't really spoke about it too. In in my past, in my real estate investing past, I'm always looking for mentoring, for coaching, to learn from others that have created results that I desire, right? And so one of the main things, if I'm going to invest in a coaching program or a mastermind or whatever it be, or sometimes it's not even a financial investment, it's just investment of my time. I always ask myself, I'm like, is this person in the place that I want to be, right? Have they created the results that I'm seeking? And sometimes that's on a person, like, does this person have, if someone's giving marriage advice to me, I'm like, does this person really have the marriage that I am achieving to have? Or are they like, what is that like? Or, parenting advice, financial advice, investing advice. Like, I always ask myself, has this person created the results that I'm seeking? If so, then I want to learn from that person. So that's what's really impressive to me as well, was like, when you told me about some of the leadership team, I started doing my own research as well, and looking at some of the people that are moving over to EXP. There are some serious players that are moving to EXP, and to me, that just spoke volumes. I'm like, this is something real. Like, you and I are both like really, really successful in real estate, right? We could, like, I've created like an awesome business, awesome life, all this kind of stuff. But it's like, this is something we have to take note of. And so that the industry leaders that are moving into this space just spoke volumes to me. And that really even just added on to my curiosity. I'm like, this is something I'm going to be a part of.
I mean, that's what I felt as well. I feel like history is being made right now. I feel like this is that once in a lifetime opportunity for real estate professionals. And in my opinion, guys, is that this is, whether you're an agent or investor or anybody thinking about real estate, this is, in my opinion, the greatest opportunity we've ever seen. And it's just a huge opportunity because, I mean, look at this. Like, I mean, I want to challenge y'all to sit down with us, but I wasn't there during the .com boom. I missed Dell and Yahoo. I missed Facebook. I missed Bitcoin. I missed all these. And so when I saw this, I said, there's zero chance that I'm going to miss this opportunity, especially since it's already aligned with the industry that I'm in, which is real estate. And I come from a family where, I hear story after story from my parents, from my aunts, my uncles, about all the missed opportunities they had throughout their life. Specifically one from my own father, right? He tells me about, he was at a McDonald's, decades ago, and some guy came up to him and was like, look, I got the opportunity of a lifetime for you. And he wanted him just to look at this stock that was coming out, and it was Yahoo. And if my dad had just put a few $1,000s into it, it would have made him a multimillionaire. And I hear story after story like this from individuals who are older in the older generation about all the missed opportunities. And it's because they didn't look at it with an open mind. They didn't slow down to do their research. They didn't slow down to put pen to paper and see if this is an actual opportunity for them. And all I ask y'all is, I challenge you just to sit down with us for an hour and just show us your numbers of what you're doing. If you're a broker, show us the numbers. Let's compare it. If you're an agent, show us the numbers. Let's compare it. If you're going to make less money or it's not a big opportunity for you, then it makes no sense for you to move. But if it is, then unless you hate money, unless you hate your future, unless you hate where you're going in life, why wouldn't you want to make the move and give it a shot, right? And that's all I'm asking, and that's all what people are saying is take a look at it. It's changing lives for everybody that I know personally, and all the agents that are coming over are saying this is the most exciting time in their career. This is what they're telling me. And so I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think this is going to be bigger than anybody really even imagines that it can be. And most of us think it's going to be huge. And so, guys, sit down with us. Brant, you want to say anything? Final words?
Man, that's it. That's it, man. Like I tell my students, if the numbers make sense, you do the deal. So same thing. If the numbers make sense, you do the deal. Joni, yeah. So last thing is Joni Warren, I quote, says, there are those who see an opportunity and there are those who seize an opportunity. So do the numbers, and if the numbers work for you and the story works for you and what you're trying to create, like I would seize it like in a heartbeat. That's what I did. I'm not just saying that. That's what I did, and that's what I encourage people to do when they spend time and do the research. I think that's what they'll find.
All right. Well, Brant, how do they reach you? So obviously, so we got a little glitch there. How are they going to reach you if they want to sit down with you and I? And so, guys, if you want to reach out to us, we'll sit down with you. We'll get on Skype just like this. We'll look at your business model. We'll look at where you're at. Some of y'all are at boutique brokerages. Some of y'all are at franchise companies. Everybody's got a story behind where they're at, why they're there. All y'all have different longevities at these places. Some of y'all have been there for your whole career. Some of y'all just moved there. Some of y'all are feeling pain right now and just want to see if there's a new opportunity out there. And I promise you, this is worth taking 30 to 60 minutes of your time just to sit down with us and see if it can be a better option. So how do they reach you, Brant, if they want to sit down with us?
Yeah, so I'm pretty out there on the interwebs. You should Google my name, Brant Phillips. The name of my main investment company is Invest Home Pro, and the number is on that site. And you can also reach me at 713-530-1610, or just email me, brant.phillips@gmail.com is the easiest thing.
Right. So, guys, all I say is, like, look, you're hearing about this out there. If you're not slowing down to take a look at it, don't call us back in 2 years and say, hey, why didn't you show me this sooner? Or why didn't you press us harder to look at this, guys? We only have enough time to sit down with those people. We're looking for those who are looking for us to work with, right? We're not going to go out there and chase people down. This is your business. This is your future. This is your life. It is your obligation and your duty to prepare the best for your future. So you need to reach out to us. Okay, guys, that's all I want to say. Thanks for coming to the show, Brant. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man, I'm grateful that you joined the team and working with us. It's going to be a great road, great run at this. And guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Have a good day.
You've been listening to The Brant Phillips Show. To listen to past shows, get updates on future shows, and find other resources or information about coaching, visit BrantPhillips.com.